Welcome to the Lights in the Night Show with Russell Johnson, who wants to talk about and reveal what the United States government doesn't want you to know about UFOs and aliens right here in this country and around the globe. Russell has been following this material for over 50 years and will have guests who will tell their stories from around the world. Take down the number to call in, 888-565-1470, because Russell wants to hear your story. Our show also invites you to send your pictures and videos to UFO@amp2.tv so we can show them on our program at lightsinthenight.tv. Now, let's get to the Lights in the Night subject matter and hear what the government has tried to keep quiet for over 50 years. Again, get ready to call 888-565-1470 and watch on lightsinthenight.tv. Now, here's Russell with today's show.
All right. Welcome again to lightsinthenight.tv. So, and the people who want to pull down the apps, you can do that. But iHeartRadio?
Something like that.
Yeah, iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio, 1470.
1470 AM. Say, welcome back. We have a great guest again, George Green. He's going to be with us in a minute here. Jessica is here. And of course, Lady Barrett. Lady Barrett, is that good?
Yeah, Lady Christopher, Lady Barrett,
you
whatever.
Want Christopher? Or
yeah, Lady Christopher.
Lady Christopher Barrett.
Yeah,
Lady
Christopher's.
Lady Christopher's good. That's good.
The good people are here. How is that?
Yeah, we're
awesome.
Here waiting
Happy
for
to be
George.
Here. Yes.
Listen, we're going to cover a number of subjects in that we're kind of lining up the schedule all throughout September, October, November. And we will be covering issues like crop circles, abductions, talking about Easter Island, Roswell, of course, that's a big subject. Grooms Lake, Area 51, that's a big subject. And again, we have George Green, who has been researching this at least 40 years, minimally 40 years. He travels all over the world.
And you've known him that long, right?
Yeah, I used to interview him 25 years ago,
right.
or, when I was on the American radio
right.
networks. But anyway, across the country. But so I've been around he and Colonel Stevens, but Stevens is gone now. But so many people who have a lot of this information and right on top of research on this. And it's a very serious subject for me, for a lot of people who know that it's real. George, are you with us?
I'm with you.
Hey, Thank you very much for being with us. Listen, the first part of the program, the first half hour, the ladies want to talk to you about abductions and
Roswell, crop circles.
And we'll do that general, and then we'll talk about
what's coming.
Yeah, we'll do that.
How to prepare.
What to say when I meet my first alien.
Oh, okay. All right. George?
You're talking to one across the room.
Yeah, but don't tell the
We
people
know
that.
that.
Okay. Oh, well, if he's a representation, we are in good hands. I am
Right.
nice to meet you.
Thanks, George. I needed that. I needed that reputation. Come on.
That's good.
I'm just the intermediary here. Hey, George, thank you very much for being with us. Listen, let's get underway. When we talk about reptilians, greys, Palladians, we can talk about how many different species you think are here presently on the planet?
Probably walking among us at least 25 or 30 different groups right now from different star systems. So we have to look at it. Even our so-called astronomers are now admitting that there's maybe 1,000 or planets or so, or 1 billion systems out here controlling them. And people don't. When you start researching this, you start looking at the ancient documents which were left by us, and you find out that we're all alien, if you want to look at it, from our ancestry. We were all come from different star systems. We had a lot of mixes between the different races, but most of them have maintained themselves pretty much.
Have you heard of the blue avians?
Yes, I've heard of them too. Actually, I was in San Francisco at the airport, and I was sitting there, and it was a family. It was 2 adults and 3 children. They were in their teens, but they walked in. They looked the other way, but I was looking at their skin. It was kind of a blue-black, if you look at it.
Wow.
But I mean, absolutely perfect. And I was admiring on how they were dressed and how they were presenting themselves, and I couldn't see anything wrong with them. Anyway, it must have lasted 3 or 4 minutes, just me staring at them from the backside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And at the last minute, they all turned around, all simultaneously, and just smiled at me because they were reading my mind.
Wow. So that telekinesis, it really works with...
Well, that's telepathic.
All right.
Telekinesis is more moving things. Telepathic is from the mind.
Yeah, but a lot of people are telepathic. You have to learn how to do that, and there's many books and stuff out here for people to learn how to basically in processes of meditation on how to transmit. In fact, Billy was in contact with a lot of ETs. The total communication was all mentally.
Billy Myers. You're talking about Billy Myers.
Yeah, with Billy Meyer. But then in the same position, when I got involved with Billy and the ETs, we had a lot of communication that was strictly from mind to mind.
All right. Let's talk briefly, in 30 seconds. You brought up a name, Billy Myers. Who is he and what did he do? What was he responsible for?
Well, Billy is probably the most famous one they try to discredit from his original contact, and he was contacted since he was a kid, and he was over in India and all over the crazy planet, but he ended up in Switzerland, and his biggest thing was he made an agreement with the Pleiadians in order to assist in getting the word out, supposedly, that we're out here, and was allowed to take a lot of pictures, and I'm talking about moving pictures and regular ones, and people can go to my website and see some of them, nohoax.com, or just plug my name, George Green, in on Google. You'll see them.
And everyone, that's nohoax.com.
Nohoax, hoax, nohoax.com. But when I was over there with Billy, of course, then we had another group, and I thought that they were Pleiadian, but they were from the planet Umo. And then the Umos looked just like us, but they had set up, what do you call compounds, if you want to call it that, or little villages in Spain. And Dr. Antonio Rivera, I got a hold of him, and I flew over to Spain to check all that out. And then I got my mind blown because Billy claimed to be the only one in contact. That's not true. Then I flew off to South America, and there was a group, if you were talking about it, they were dark-skinned with the ETs, but they looked like people, but they really were not, as we would call them that. Anyway, they brought back a cure for cancer. And I got a sample of it, and I flew the sample to Chemitox Labs in Boulder, Colorado. And then we had the spectrographic analysis done, and then I flew that down to Dr. Alan Hynek. Remember, he was supposed to be the liaison for our government. That was the time when they come out with, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
George, let me ask you about that cure for cancer. You said you had the cure for cancer. Do you still have that formula?
I have the spectrographic analysis of it.
But you don't have...
Anyway...
You don't have the formula.
I don't have the formula because we can't reproduce it. I gave it to the chemist that's here to do something with the stuff, but that was it. But anyway, that group of ETs left us. When I was with Billy over there, I went to one of the neighbor farmers, and I was asking if he saw anything. And of course, he was all excited, and he grabbed me and went around. And he was milking the cow in the morning, and there was an ET that was 7 meters tall.
Wow! Now, who was that from? Was that a Pleiadian? Was that?
No, there was not a Pleiadian. There was a small group of Pleiadians. I mean, they talk about the Pleiadians actually have been in contact with different people all over. Shirley MacLaine, if you can get a hold of her, she's investigated 7 different places around the world.
Yeah, what was the latest book, George? What's the latest book, Shirley MacLaine's book?
I don't know which one she's.
Yeah, I read. Oh, you can Google it.
I think she has a recent one out.
Yeah, she's been through a lot of challenges and a lot of experiences. So,
but the trouble is when you get it out,
delineates all of that. She talks about all that in her book. So you might want to.
I have a question. Is it one species of extraterrestrials that do the crop circles, or is that many different?
The crop circles, when I started investigating that, and I got all kinds of pictures of them too, and then I wanted to know the reason for it. In the book that we published for the ETs, I mentioned the crop circles. They say there's 2 purposes. One, to make people curious of what they are, but the real purpose is to keep our planet in balance. So where they are placed, and they're all over the planet. They did a movie on it in India. They did them. I saw one that was in the southeastern part of, out of Denver, about 20 miles. But the things that are there for keep the planet stabilized. So we have some help from the ETs.
I think we need some more crop circles.
Curiosity and balance. That's nice.
Let's go do a quick question on that, on the crop circles, because that's important. Now, Linda Howell, she's considered one of the experts, and Colin, what is his name? But Linda Howell, you know Linda?
Sure, Linda's from Littleton, Colorado, where
So the people who want to know a lot of information on crop circles and crop circles alone, just Google the name Linda Howell.
We'll get her on the radio program.
I will. Well, I'll call you and get her number. Spell her last name for us.
Howe.
Okay, Howe, Linda, Linda. Now, and that's important because she does a lot of research on crop circles, and she has been for the last 25 years. And so we will bring her, and George, he'll give me her number, and she'll bring and talk about that. Because how about Colin Anderson, or Andrews, if you will?
Colin Andrews, I haven't been in contact. I met him at a UFO conference, but I haven't. I got my own deal. I'm trying to wake people up to who and what they are, and by distributing my books, the Handbook for the New Paradigm, they're going around the world. There are people all over waking up.
How can we get your book? How can they get your book, George?
But it gives people, when you read the book, because it's not an easy read, it does what happens, it re-triggers your mind so you can be in direct contact with the ETs.
George, how can they get a copy of your book? They can get it free, right, by downloading the book?
Yeah, they get it free by downloading.
Right off your website, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I went to it. I read it. I didn't find it a hard read. It just sang to my heart, your book. I read it. It was fabulous. Or you channeled.
Read the next two books then. If that read to your heart, because that's what it's supposed to be, the next two will fill you in up to bring you up to date.
All right, and the next two, the titles are?
Well, they're on you can download those too.
Right, okay.
By doing that, and if you're one of the fortunate ones that understand what's going on, the second and the third book allow you to be in direct contact. They give you basic instructions, so you don't need me and you don't need Russ. You just go direct.
That's
you don't
fabulous.
need the program.
You always need the program because the program is always going to be opening up new ideas and new experiences that are even going to be above this one.
I got it. So we talk about Easter Island and crop circles, and how about the Majestic 12 and Roswell and the Greys and the Reptilians?
All these things. Easter Island was a group. They're starting to come down, and they're finding out they're much bigger. And that was another group of ETs that just picked that island, but they died off. That was just a remnant to the left of them.
Were they living there?
Sure.
Awesome.
Planet Earth has been, we go through all cycles. The cycle, the 26,000-year cycle, the 12,000-year cycle. The ending of the cycle we're getting into right now, which everything is coming to, well, if you want to call it a completion or end, if you're aware, our North Pole has shifted 14 degrees right now. We're getting ready for a flip on the axis again. Well, if you look at the results down in Antarctica, all of a sudden they're pulling up stuff on it because that was above ground.
Where do I want to be buying real estate if that's going to happen?
You don't want to buy any real estate right now because it's not a good place. That's not a place to put.
And he's going to talk about that in the next half hour.
Well, that's the first thing that jumped to my mind is: am I living in? Then where should I be living right now? Is Florida? Am I in a good spot if the world flips upside down?
No, that's going to be all underwater.
Oh,
wow!
All right.
All right.
Good thing I'm a good swimmer and I'm related to the dolphins, so I have no problem. I'm going to find a vortex.
You ask for guidance, the little guidance thing, and when you become in contact with ETs, like me, I asked the same thing, where should I be going? And they gave me, if I wanted to, they gave me 4 different cities that I could go, or little communities, not big cities, because that's a disaster scene, but small communities I could go to that will be reasonably safe. There won't be anything as safe on this planet, frankly. We're going to go through some big
changes, environmental, just Mother Earth herself.
Everything. Well,
should I be learning karate? No joke. Should I be learning to, self-defense? Is it at that level that I should be preparing for?
I really can't answer that question.
Good thing I'm a third-degree black belt. I can teach
merely because you're going to have people running in the streets. Look what they're doing right now in some of the cities. People are just running wild. And we don't have an education system. I mean, the first rule in the universe is to gain all knowledge so you can wisely follow the laws of creation. That's in the handbook and stuff. So if you look at the laws and you break them down, I've got them all broken down by how we're supposed to be living. The trouble is there's no way you're going to switch this around. So what's happening, and the ETs are telling me the same thing, it's too late to change everything, but what we can do is get together with other people like you guys are
All right, George,
right now.
let me ask you a quick question. How long have you been in contact with the ETs, the Palladians, and others? How long have this been going on?
Well, a little over 20 years. That's when I got it. When I was over in Billy, it's actually, if I go back and look at my life, it looks like they've been guiding me all along, and because I wouldn't have been meeting these people or getting involved into them, or like they said, I've been well trained because, look, I ran around with the people that are planning on taking over the world.
I'm starting to think that I've been guided since a child.
Yep.
I really.
Why have you been chosen, you think, George?
We chose ourselves. We don't. This is not the only life. You have a lot of them.
Oh?
The wheel of reincarnation exists. So that was taken out of the Bible, as you know, in the year 553. But reincarnation is a fact. The question is how you got into it, how much you've evolved on the energy. Your soul's the one that continues on. This body is just a rent-a-wreck.
Right.
Can I?
You believe that?
I do believe that because I've died twice.
Oh, I have a thought on that.
Well, I've died twice.
I do.
So
Well, comment on that.
I will. Go ahead.
No,
Okay. Well, I just when you say that, I absolutely believe that because one, how boring would it be for a soul to come into a human life for 60 years, go away, and never come back or experience any other kind of physical form? Mm-hmm. And two, so then I always imagine how is a soul determined to go into a physical body? And what I figure, and I would love to hear George's feedback, is at the moment of birth or at some point where that soul is chosen, that there's some kind of universal calculation for good that says in this moment, if I insert this soul into this experience, then for the overall good of the universe, this is our best shot. Now, of course, life can come and whatnot, but I've always imagined that's how it's chosen.
Well, okay.
interesting.
George, what do you think? George, you say you've been here before, George. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm sure I've been here
my
before.
life begins at conception or before. In other words, your soul continues, and it picks a group or something. How you get into a family for certain lessons that you want to learn on a soul level.
Yeah, I thought it was an individual soul choice. That's my feeling. Having died twice and sort of being beyond that veil and going through that experience.
I mean, you truly have died?
I've actually died twice, full on flatline.
On this experience right now, you've done it well.
Yeah, in this physical body, I've left it twice, and that's why I was kind of playing with an idea of a book called "There are no French fries in heaven." Sort of like I'm here to also express love, to feel love, to touch love,
and eat
to share love, to create love, to emanate love. To heal through love.
And that's why I think the soul that is chosen looks at it and says, as universal love, if I could expand it to its greatness, mathematically, I'm going to take a little dab of this, that, whatever, stick it right here, and we are that. So that's what I mean.
Okay.
So you guys believe this, that you've been here before? And
completely.
Oh, absolutely.
And that we're here for a moment.
Yep.
As
this physical body.
As if it were a school, if you will.
Absolutely.
A classroom. And then we'll leave.
Soul school, baby.
Oh, all
I
right.
know, right? Can you believe that?
Soul school.
Completely.
Would you believe she said that? Anyway. Because we do have a product of soul.
I know, it's working for me too, all the way around.
Come on, Russell, haven't you been someplace and for the first time in this one? Sure.
I don't know.
Or that you feel really connected?
I don't know. I just keep asking questions.
I believe like you, George, about the soul families, about we come together as a tribe and as an energetic family of resonance, if you will, that, yes, we're pulled back together.
People are listening to this and they say, what are these people talking about?
Oh, the good news, wake up, go Google on YouTube. There's millions of people going, I buy that. Yeah,
okay. Hollow Earth talks about that. And they'll be back with us on September 2nd, by the way, right. Hollow Earth. And he says
the biggest problem is to separate people and understand, because there's so much going on. When you come into this physical life, your soul is sexless.
That's right.
But you may decide to have an experience as a woman or experience as a man. Why do you think you have so many people that are having a problem determining what they are? Meanwhile, society doesn't want you to have that way. You have to understand the soul is the one that continues on.
That's right. Yeah,
I believe
George,
that.
I liked you last week. I like you even better today.
You guys all agree.
And I believe when an animal dies out of their physical body, they too have a soul and go on, because I have felt it in assisting animals transition. I have felt their soul leave. And isn't it, there's a movie called like 2 Grams or something that is...
Well,
I've
the
heard that
Russians
isn't.
actually did.
Yeah.
The Russians were measuring at the moment of death what happens to the body, and
Right.
22 grams leave.
Oh, 22 grams.
I've heard
I
that's
was
a
off
myth.
too.
I would love to Google that. Now, I trust what you're saying, but I have Googled that myself and found other people that say that's not true. So
Is that true,
let's put it on
George?
the research list. We'll put a
Well,
follow-up.
that's information. I didn't get that
shows.
from the ETs. I got that from other people. I was studying
Human
the Russians
stuff.
because we were talking about, reincarnation at the time with some scientist friends I have. And the evidence is that we reincarnate. And it was
Absolutely.
taught in all religions until the year 553 when Father Origen decided to take it out of the so-called Bible.
Right. Didn't work for the common people. You can't control the common people if you tell them how it really is.
Oh, is it right? You
you
believe
tell
that?
them,
This
you
is
told
another
them that, then
conspiracy
they're
show.
gonna
What are
continue
we
on,
doing?
because
Oh, life
they want
is
you to
a
believe
yeah.
this is all there is.
This is not a conspiracy.
It's not a conspiracy.
This
It's
is
truth.
real.
It's truth.
Okay.
I'm living proof. I know.
You know.
I know without a shadow of a doubt.
Wow.
And I can travel in my dream time.
Okay. Maybe we have the right people on the as
Oh, we have
hosts.
the right people. That's right. This is our energy has been drawn together. We're soul family, baby.
Okay. Hey, George, before we talk about the impending collapse of the economy,
No, we're going to heal it through love. We're going to
Yes,
reach
see,
enough
that's
people
right.
through
I
this
slightly-
show.
yes,
we're
slightly
going to
just-
shift the
yes.
hearts to
There you
love,
go.
and we're going to change it.
Right
all
here.
right,
I
all
believe
right,
in
all
miracles.
right.
I believe in miracles too. That's right. I take on because when you set that expectation, you can shift all things.
What's happening with Area
Okay.
51 these days? S4, Grooms Lake, whatever you want to call that. What's happening
Well,
with that?
no, you have you, Russ. If you go to the Area 51, you're going to find out this is kind of a military compound. But the real stuff is done at S4. That's right next to it. It's just an area that they've had a bunch of ETs that lived there underground, the whole works of it. And a lot of the craft, some of them, the craft ended up, in different parts of the country, in different places. They're trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, we've had ET visitations. We had direct contact, with different ones that want to come down and met our president, and that these kind of things are all kept in secret. But a lot of it's coming out now because of remember the old rule book in the military, everything's secret for 25 years or 30 years, whatever they want. Well, a lot of these documents are coming out, but because of the movie industry creating all these things, people don't know what's real and what's not.
Right.
Correct.
Well, there is such a thing as...
And my suggestion, Russ, seriously, my suggestion is there's a couple of UFO conferences coming up. One of them down in Laughlin, Nevada. Go down there. You're going to see other people. You can see pictures, and they're in contact. And there's probably the one that's the first part of the year down in Phoenix. There'll probably be 1,500 people there. In other words, this is a big these are people coming in from all over the world that want to share their experience because most people won't believe it anyway.
Right, okay.
Even when I show them pictures, and I've got all this stuff, and I lived it. Of course, I lived it on both sides of the coin. I lived with the guys that are planning on taking over the world. So it's
and we
really
want to talk about that in a few minutes. Do we have any commercials?
Is Coswell Air Force Base a big traffic area? Coswell?
Yeah, it was.
Uh-huh.
There was the reason why there was a lot of UFO traffic down in New Mexico. I published a book called UFO Crash at Aztec. There was 18 crashes that we wrote up in the book that occurred in New Mexico, and some of them that's because we were experimenting with our frequency and stuff, which really affected them. Now these ETs that were coming down at that time, their technology was not that much different than ours, other than they learned how to go from one planet to another in a few minutes. It's like the Pleiadians.
I heard a rumor that the reptilians were kicked out because they weren't playing by the rules. Is that true?
No, there's a lot of fights going on, if you want to call it, there's a group of ETs that hope that you and I wake up enough people to change things.
Yeah,
and
who's that
there's
name?
a group of ETs right now that says, wait a minute, let the planet destroy ourselves. We want the mineral resources. Let all the humans that are on there die now.
So there's Team
Is it
Human
true if we have negative thoughts and emotions that there are some that feed on that?
That's true.
That's energetic.
So
That's just energy for sure.
Yeah, more important than ever to be in a space of love and forgiveness and gratitude, right?
Bring the light. Yes.
Well, there's no gratitude. You chose this thing. The creation is.
I'm grateful I chose it. I get to eat French fries.
And gratitude also emanates turns the vibration and the frequency that the body emanates into a higher vibration versus something that's more negative.
Exactly.
All these people right on top of all this
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, we're on it.
Gratitude raises the vibration.
Absolutely.
And it's a doorway to pure love.
Yes, it's a doorway to
So
deep
this is a
friends.
whole new movement.
That's right.
In contrast
you need
to
to
most...
learn how to meditate. You have to learn how to meditate and get yourself into stillness away from all of the traffic out there.
I meditate 2 hours a day.
I always envy people like that.
And you got to get away from cell phones, television sets, and all the rest.
I don't own a cell phone, so I meditate twice a day. I don't own a cell phone. I'm doing pretty good.
I'm 15-minute meditator, and I love my smartphone.
Right. George, there's such thing as disinformation. So is that's continuing? George, are you still there?
I'm here. What was the question, sir?
Disinformation. Let's talk about the disinformation campaign.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything about, what I found out when I got with, investigating, when I investigated Billy, then I went over to check on myself. And then my education is pretty heavy. I went to Colorado School of Mines. I studied geophysics. I studied law and business, University of Illinois. Mm-hmm. I studied Japanese in Toshibashi University outside of Tokyo. And then I spent time running around the world investigating other people, and I just, in other places and what's going on.
Okay, we're going to talk about some of those experiences in just a moment. We have to take a break here. Hey, you're listening to 1470 AM, and we are talking about lightsinthenight.tv.
Absolutely, and make sure you are sending in your photos to UFO@amp2.tv.
Break time.
Great. Hey, business owners, are you frustrated because you can't find great salespeople? You know, the kind that close the deal and bring in the cheddar? Advertise your open sales positions on the salesmojoshow.com. You get live mentions and web career finder presence Wednesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. on WNN 1470 AM. The Sales Mojo Show will have therapy sessions for salespeople, helping them find, sell, and close prospects, as well as offering a simple way to find a great sales career job. Your job. Hit up the employee line at thesalesmojoshow.com and tune in Wednesdays 7 to 8 p.m. on WNN 1470 AM and close the deal. Are you dealing with chronic pain? Would you love to increase your energy and vitality? I know I had excruciating back pain. It hurt to stand, it hurt to sit. I would do exercises my chiropractor gave me, and I worked through that pain, and then I was introduced to Soul. Visit www.yes2soul.com to buy some today. Soul is an incredible health and wellness product made of seeds, black cumin seeds. Now, when I researched the health benefits of black cumin seeds, I was shocked and happy to learn that seeds have been used for thousands of years to bring relief to a wide range of health issues. Soul is a great product. It's also a great business opportunity with Rain International. Call me today. My name's Jessica. You can reach me at 954-379-7260. And let's talk about Soul. Or visit yes2soul.com or call me 954-379-7260. Invest in your health and wealth today.
You are listening to the Lights in the Night Show with Russell Johnson, who invites you to call in at 888-565-1470 and send us your pictures and videos at UFO@amp2.tv. Join the conversation and let us hear your story. 888-565-1470. Now, back to our show.
You're back.
We are back, and I'm so happy to be here.
Hi, George. Are you still with us?
Hey, George.
No, I'm not here.
George, interesting guy.
George, thank you very much for being with us, and thank you for covering the issues of crop circles briefly, and Area 51, Majestic 12. We really didn't get into that. Roswell, of course.
But we want to know what's going on now.
George, you kind of alluded to one world government at one point. Could you just quickly, in 30, 60 seconds, talk about what is that movement toward a one world government? What are we talking about, George?
Well, it's been planned for a long time. The politics is two words. Poly means many, and ticks are bloodsuckers. And when I find out, and it's a good definition.
I like that
because
one.
I used to run around with, a lot of them in the politics game, clear up to the presidents of countries. Anyway, when I got to there, the ego, it kind of puts, ego is edging God out. And what it amounts to is these guys think that they're in total control, yet some of them are very smart, and they look at the futility of what's happening to the planet and the greed that has been set up on this planet for people to think, well, I got to have so much money. Mm-hmm. It's not a question of that. We were all born in a planet that had plenty of abundance on it, and it was to be shared. Well, right now you got people that want it all. And so what happened is when I got involved with this thing, when they asked me to be the finance chairman for the next president of the United States, 2 years before I became president, I started analyzing all the details at that time and what they had and what they were offering me and what they had planned. Well, one of the things that upset me was that they want to be in control. And the guys in control, they don't know who's really going to be on top. They have their, the current leader of the weak club, or the person that they put out on, get behind and provide them the money so the people that get the money, of course, are beholden to the ones that give it to them. So, you have an oddball going on like Trump has already gone through the game of making all the money, and he wants to be the leader. The problem is the anthill in Washington is so corrupt.
All right, what's coming down then?
Well,
what's been organized?
Now, and part of the thing is they want to have a one world currency. When I was in Beijing with the leaders over there, they said it's 5,000 years. It's our turn to run the world. So when they announced yesterday, for instance, bringing the currency down into relaxing, well, it's the same problems that when Trump come out and said we put a $2.5 billion Ford plant in Mexico, right? Well, the businessman, in order to produce products, and then you and I are buying products like cars and whatever, you want to get them at the cheapest price you can. Well, what is the biggest thing that's involved with everything around the world? And that's labor. Well, at a big company, you got to go where the labor is the cheapest. And so the companies have been going around the world. We've exported all our jobs out of the United States. That's basically what's happening.
And they said the real unemployment rate right now in the United States is really 23%.
Oh, yeah, and in the younger population, it's over 30%.
Oh, 50%.
It's worse than that.
Is it worse than that?
Worse than that,
man,
yeah.
I try not to watch the news because it just gets worse sometimes.
We need to know that out of all the 4,200 colleges here in the United States, average enrollment 15,000, so that's 50 million persons. Out of those people who do get those degrees, BAs, MAs, MBAs, 54% are now unemployed or underemployed.
Oh, my goodness.
And have school loans.
And $1 trillion plus school loans that they can't pay.
He graduated. He got his degree out there. And what is he doing? He's working at the airport at the checkout stand for car companies.
All right. So where are we going now?
We don't have any jobs left here. Anything that's major, what you're asking for, a car or clothes, they're all made someplace else.
So what do we do about it now?
So what's happening? So what's happening? What's the next move? What's the next? And in terms of your information. And are you getting this information from the ETs? Yes or no?
Well, I'm getting confirmation from the ETs. They don't care. They don't use money. We're the ones that use the money as it do it. And Frank, you know the story that I tell everybody when I was asked to be when I was playing the game of money, I used to sell money. I'm the only person in the United States that got the state to issue me a license to sell money.
Right, you were saying that last week.
And I just want to ask you a real quick question, George.
I'm going to read you a couple paragraphs. This is out of the Systems of National Accounting. This is out of the International Monetary Fund. This is their accounting book. This is Article 11.56. In the Systems of National Accounting, there's no concept of measure of money within the classification of financial assets. Money is very important as a financial variable, but the wide ranges of which money we find in different countries precludes definition. Even measures of narrow money, which includes currency and transfer deposits, may be difficult and as a boundary between transferable and non-transferable deposits may not be stable in many countries. I won't go anymore, but that gives to give you an idea.
So
when I had the argument with the state, because the Federal Reserve told them I had to get a license, I said, now how are you going to give me one? So we all determined that money was some kind of security. And so at that point, when they said, great, we'll have to do that. So I went to registered financial principal, a broker-dealer, and a securities underwriter. After the whole stock market is a game, and it's a whole lie.
It is. But do you have a timeline on when you think that all of this is going to crash down around our ears, and what should we do to prepare ourselves?
Yeah, she is talking about what George. Let me say, she is saying, she's making reference to what happened in 2008, 2007, now 2009, that it's going to happen all over again. And she's saying, when is this going to happen?
Well, here's the problem. In 2008, when they had the drop on 40% basically in the market, the next day I got a letter directly from the Feds that said they would loan me the money directly to maintain the market. Well, the market that was stocks that I was issuing. I was the issuer. And as an underwriter, it's my job to maintain the market, in other words, keep it going. Well, I knew what the companies are worth. They're kind of like now. It's all blue sky, and it's all being manipulated.
Okay, the question. Let me do the question again, George. Let me do the question again. When is this going to happen? As it happened?
He's saying it didn't happen. It's not. It won't be the same experience. So we understand that. So when the new experience comes, it's even tougher than 2008. When is that beginning? What's the range?
Oh, it's beginning right now. You're seeing what's happening in all the other countries. I don't know we're going to make it the next 30 days, frankly.
Really? And what should we do to prepare? What?
Yeah.
I have people calling me from all over the world right now because what I've been advising them, and I've got the accounting book for the New World System, and in it, what their definition of real money is, and that's gold. And they don't mention silver, but that's the poor man's gold. Now, I'm only 5 blocks from the mint, so I can get the mint and stuff as it's made right here. So I can get gold or silver or whatever I need to. I don't have a problem, other than there's so many people calling me now to get it. It's taking me 2 to 3 weeks to get it because everybody knows that the only real money is gold, according to the International Monetary Fund.
So gold is running, $1,100 an ounce? Now, what is it? What is it now, today?
$12.50.
Huh?
$12.50 today.
$12.50 today. And somebody said it may go as high as $7,000 an ounce. Did you hear that?
That's right.
Okay. Wow. And here I'm looking at a report that says the stock market will stumble by 50%. The real estate will plummet at more than 40%. Savings accounts will lose 30%. Employment will triple. Right now, officially, they say it's 7, 8, 10%, whatever. It's really 23%. So we're talking about a 1929 or somewhere back in that era. It's going to look like that. Is that right?
Well, it's going to be worse than that because we're no longer producing stuff. If you look at it, and I've talked to the people up here because we basically have borrowed all the money in the world. We're over $100 trillion in debt.
True.
You understand, to the Federal Reserve, which is done on trillion. Nobody knows the trillion. In fact, when I was on Coast to Coast, I says, you guys don't understand. I was sitting with my ex-father-in-law was comptroller of a small company called General Motors, and he was there at the beginning when they used to kite checks with U.S. Steel to stay alive. Well, we're going to be in that position because people won't have gasoline to run your cars. They won't have anything, and they have cars right now that don't run on gasoline. And they don't have that stuff. But the trouble is, where are you going to go? Because there won't be any distribution of product, which comes in from where? You go to Walmart, and it's all from China.
All right.
So this won't be a bad couple of months. This will be
decades of
really
destruction.
Bad.
No, it's not. That isn't designed that. They're going to crash this. They'll get everybody. Right now, you keep watching the Middle East because they want to get World War III started. That's the whole game. Because ultimately, you guys are close enough to go up to Georgia and to look at the Georgia Guidestone. They want to get World War III going. Now, they asked me to build an enemy prisoner of war camp in downtown Las Vegas. And I got a copy of the contract.
George, who's the they in the story, just so I can follow along? When you were talking about they were wanting to start World War III, who was they?
Well, it's a group of people that I got involved in. They're basically kind of a private group, if you want to call them.
So not ETs, just to be clear. We're not talking about ETs. Okay. So
they
these
don't
are
care
human.
about money.
Really heavy money, heavy
money?
and power that run our government, frankly. People behind the scenes.
Got it. So if they don't, well, okay, we
And
don't
how
want to
would
get off
that
topic,
be?
but-
Like drop a bomb on Israel or?
Well, that's because they want to follow the biblical prophecies, because Israel was created in 1948.
Right.
Remember, what didn't even exist as such. It's one of these things that's just one of their games that they're playing, so everybody will fall in line and say, waiting for somebody to come save them. Well, what did Christ said? What I do, you can do in greater, and what you sow, you shall reap. Wasn't any rescue plan.
Right.
So all these people that go into that belief system are going to be in a big rude awakening.
So what should we do to
Right.
prepare?
Right, exactly.
Well, as we have, the ETs have given me the instruction manuals, which are free download on my website, nohoax.com. And that basically says to get together with other people of like minds to support each other in the days ahead.
Nice. That's a great.
And I started that from the book. Like you start with 2, and it was specific numbers, and like 2 and then 7, and we started doing
3,
that after I
that's
read
in
it.
the book. It tells you to get 4, 7, or 11. Nothing
Right.
bigger than that. I mean, there's a group in Austin, Texas. They have over 100 of them in their group, and everybody's all getting prepared in order to protect us. There's some people all over the country. There are people that are forming small groups, understanding that this whole thing's coming apart. And we won't be using money. I mean, I sat in on the meetings. We're going to get a debit card. They already, under the FEMA rules, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, when they call a natural disaster, you're going to have to go to the post office and register and get your new ID. And it'll be a debit card, basically, on the new system, because they don't have any money behind any of this.
What
They
about
don't have
these
a definition
rumors
of money. I just told you.
What about these rumors of FEMA camps? What's that all about?
That's not a rumor. When I asked me to build the enemy prison of war camp, when I talked to Ted Gunderson, the former head of the FBI, he came back and he said they're building them all over the country, but they don't use the word enemy. They call them FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management. Now, in Montana, I was over there on television, they're advertising right now for people to come work the FEMA camps. Now, what does that tell you?
Really?
Well, they got
And
private prisons.
who would they throw in there? A rebel like me?
People to guard them, and what they're going to do is take anybody that wants to protest against them, and the actual, I hate to go into it, but anybody over age 44 will be eliminated unless you have a talent that they use. They want to reduce their estimates. And I went to Washington, D.C. to look at it. There's a place called the Population Institute, 5 blocks north of the White House. Anyway, in there, they determine what they think they can manage, and they're expecting maybe 20 million people, the most in the United States, and it won't be in the major cities.
Okay.
And then we have the geological changes and the weather changes and everything else to put everybody in total, what do you call it, Bananasville, because there won't be anything like we've known about it. We can't look at it has happened before. This hasn't happened for 13,000 years. We're going to have a major change on the whole planet.
Okay, George. 25 years ago, we did some programs with Colonel Stevens and Stanton Friedman and you and others. Is that right?
Sure, that's correct.
But you were saying that 25 years ago.
Well, I'm just telling you, when they asked
I understand. I don't have any problem with that.
That is good news.
But that's,
for me.
Yeah, but the Plan 2000 was put in writing by Jimmy Carter.
But George, all I'm saying is that 25 years ago, when we were doing this kind of program, you were saying the imminent collapse of the world at that time. That's all I'm saying.
I know. Well,
so you're a little off in your day and time.
Look, I'm concerned. Everybody and the guys that I run around with, they're all concerned because they know exactly what's going on. Because right now, we didn't have the media out here addressing the debt of the United States, nor understanding. Most people do not understand that the Federal Reserve is a private bank. They haven't got a clue. And they don't understand that their piece of paper that they have where it says Federal Reserve note, there is no Federal, there's no Reserve in its note. It's a big monopoly game.
True.
But somebody else owns the game.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when are they going to collapse it? Well, they're going to reach it when they can have a diversion, and the diversion will be the war that gets started, and whatever is left. Now, the plans that I sat in on, including us using neutron bombs in the major cities.
Well, all I know is, Georgia, what I like most about what you've said tonight is, and I believe you said we could get this information on your website at nohoax.com, was really the advice to get close with people in your community, create a community of people around you that you could go to in times of crisis, which I think is great for any situation.
We should do that anyway.
We should do that anyway. So if this is the reason we do that, I think that's the big takeaway from tonight is start getting to create a community of people
Right, but if people of like minds support each other.
Well, I don't know if I want my neighbor, but no offense, neighbors, I love you.
Well, I was listening to Rabbi Jenny earlier, and she's talking about being co-creator with the universe. So,
that's right, absolutely.
So if that's where we're coming from, then that positive energy can outdo the negative energy. Yes or no?
Well, that's what I believe.
Yes on this vote. You, Lady Christopher, there's a yes over here. George, what's your vote?
What's your vote, George?
Can positive energy overcome?
Well, look, I've been doing this for some time.
Of course.
And unfortunately, the ET's messages back to me, there are too few of the people waking up.
I'm going to
and so they're urging us to get together now, not tomorrow, because we're running out of time.
Nice, now. So the answer is yes, there's hope. And the ETs are letting us know that at the current rate that people are waking up, that it's not looking good for us. But if we get together and we have shows like this, and thanks to AMP2.TV for hosting this show for us and helping us put it together and say, you're welcome, come on, yes, this is important information. Man, this is how it happens. Wake up, America!
You can do that if you want to talk economics. I mean, you can call me on my 800 number.
What is the 800 now? George, what is that 800 number?
729-4131, and just leave your name, and I'll talk to you directly on economics, because that's a personal thing with everybody.
It is. Okay. It is. Some people don't have gold. Some people have silver. Yeah.
All right. So that's 800.
All of that stuff is my concern that I have, frankly, right now, because I'm talking with my buddies. It's they got lots of all of that. The problem is, how do we do it? Because the government is stepping in now, requiring all kinds of paperwork for all this stuff. And if you were to sell it, they want to make it so they know where it's coming from. So when they go to the new system, they can just take it away.
Take it away. Yeah. But the number, what was it?
Mine gets buried in the backyard. So
right. I was just going to give everyone George's number again. That's 800-729-4131. Is that right, George?
That's right. And just ask for me, or leave your name and number, and I'll get back to you.
And nohoax.com.
Nohoax.com.
Okay.
Checking that out for sure.
This will be replayed on...
Right, and I highly recommend download his free books. It was very informative.
You did? You enjoyed that?
Oh, yeah, I totally did. I started grouping people together.
Where can I find that?
On nohoax.com.
How do you spell that?
HOAX, nohoax.com.
Okay, well, thank you. I just want to make that clear. Somebody might not be able to spell it correctly.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to miss any information. George, let me...
Russ, can I read you one? This is just from the ETs.
If it's in English and if it's short.
Very short. It is with regret that we inform you that the window of opportunity to salvage your planet and its human inhabitants is now closing. We're grateful for those beings that have heard the warnings and have turned their attention towards the creation of a more desirable outcome for the scenario. Regretfully, that number is too few to make any measurable difference. The days ahead will be difficult and discouraging for those who now know what might have been. It's our suggested advice that those who are committed to their service as ground crew, that's where you guys are, redouble their efforts to draw to them a circle of believers to support each other through the days ahead.
This is like Noah and the Ark, huh? It's going to...
That's right.
You need to get on the boat.
There's always been a few naysayers, though. So with all due respect to our ET brothers and sisters, there's two camps out there. There's some that are pulling for us and saying, I think you're going to pull it off. And there's others like, I'm sorry.
It's
Windows
too late.
closed. It's too late. So... Yeah, I'm going to believe in the movie ending. Us humans can make it.
I like miracles. I create miracles every day. So
and energy expands faster when you believe in the miracle.
And there's no reason to go into fear because we're eternal. We're souls.
Okay. I like that.
If you got yourself in a situation where it's really come down and it's looking really harsh, remember, your soul is eternal. Right. Your soul is love. Be that love to the last minute, and you can jump out.
High five! I'm hanging out with this lady.
Really, I'm glad she's on the program. I'm telling you. Well, what a blessing to have her on the program to keep us awake.
That's right. Enlightened.
George, so when we talk about quickly FDIC, the IRS, and all that, those are pretend agencies, and none of which are federal agencies, none of which are run by the government. They're all private. Is that right?
Yeah, but you have to look at it. The government is so controlled by them. It's like when the stock market collapsed, what did they do? The Federal Reserve immediately went in and rescued all of the stocks, etc. The
right,
brokers
instead of us,
and including when I was involved with making up money and doing stuff like that. Then we created the derivatives. We got derivatives so they could be sold by using the insurance company that they rescued. That's the reason why they did it.
Mm-hmm. So
why would they rescue an insurance company? Because it insured all the derivatives that all the brokers are selling.
So the $700 billion bailout was a way to split up some money before everybody came out of office. How's that a nice way to say it? Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay, right. Yeah. Okay, that was a cute little move, though.
I'm so excited to see in our human evolution at a time where we talk about something else, where this is a thing. Remember that day when governments were corrupt? I mean, will it really be like that someday? We're like, I remember back in those days, them corrupt governments.
Actually, look at history. History is two words: his story.
His story.
His story. Yep.
They're all written, and it's always written by the victor. If you go back into all of the time, it's like the United States. They say, "Oh, look, we became independent." All of a sudden, we have a constitution. They forgot the next day that we took on British law.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the next day, we got all these other things. At the end of World War II, where the head Japanese guy for mind control and stuff and working in China for all the biological stuff, heading up Fort Detrick. Then you start looking at all the other stuff and saying, who's manipulating the game? And then you get involved with the people that do that, and they're way behind the scenes, heavy power, always put somebody else out in front so they can control them.
Let me ask you this, George. Do the ETs that you talk with, do they tell you that they deal with the same base kind of political BS, that we deal with here on planet Earth? Is that common? Or have they solved it?
They don't. No, they're
We're
aware.
primitive.
No.
Okay.
We're primitive.
They're trying. No, the ETs I'm involved with, the first game is discern everything. Does it make logical sense? The universe is logical, mysterious maybe, don't make it mystical.
Mm-hmm.
But did they evolve to that perspective as they went through what we're going through now, or did they just come out of their womb form?
This is an evolvement of the original amount as the creation itself was trying to figure out what it is. Absolutely. So we're an experience. Everything that we do is
we are the leading
up.
Edge of creation.
That's right.
Yes.
Everything.
George, according
right or wrong, what happens as the creation is trying to figure out what it's going.
All right.
Absolutely.
According to a lot of people who study alien abductions and ETs and all of that, crop circles, whatever, they say that on this planet, out of all the billions and billions and billions of universes and planets in the universe, that the people on this planet are the worst. Is that what they say?
Oh.
No, we're kind of the prison planet. We weren't given the technology to go to other places. So the different groups, when our DNA programming that we had it so upset, and they tried to get it so we would intermix and interbreed and breed out all the contempt on all these things, but it didn't work.
Well, it hasn't worked yet.
So this is
it hasn't worked yet.
Yeah,
we
we're
don't
in
have
progress.
Time
well, Van Daniken had to.
Me, I've gotten so many people call me.
3 minutes. Okay, listen.
Wait, before I get sent to a FEMA camp, I'm in the over 44
Okay,
age.
fine. You okay?
Yeah.
I'm over. I'm one of the guys that are going to take out.
Just shine your light and be okay with however it turns out.
What would one of the
3
skills?
minutes.
What
3
would
minutes.
one of
3
the
minutes.
skills be that would be needed after this kind of thing?
Besides a black belt.
Well, then you want to get together, like you say. We know. You can just go up to Washington D.C. at the World Watch and go look at all the details. I mean, they're funded by all the major corporations in the world. You can see where to live. But by reading the 3 books on it and given permission, you can ask the ETs for assistance.
Great. So I'm going to read the next 2. I'll have them read by the next time we speak.
Yeah, when I look forward to getting George on the schedule again. You are amazing, George.
And his number is 800-729-4131. That's 800-729-4131. Hey, George, thank you very much for coming on the air several times, and you've done a magnificent job, and we thank you for the information, and thank you for your
wisdom.
Wisdom.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks, Jessica?
Besides that, George is amazing and mind-opening. No.
Lady Barrett.
Well, it's always a pleasure to speak with you, George. Thank you so much for all the information that you so generously share with us. Thank
Yes.
you.
Well, thank you for having me on. I'm just trying to wake people up, frankly.
I'm
Yes.
on that boat with you, George.
I'm with
We're
you.
all on that boat. We're on the Wake Up People boat.
NoHoax.com. And again, his telephone number is 800-729-4131, 800-729-4131. And we invite you back next week, all three of us, Jessica, back next
Absolutely.
week right here, lightsinthenight.tv. And they can always go lightsinthenight.tv and watch the show that we have just done.
Absolutely.
Yes.
They can
And
see us on video there. They can watch it again.
Lady Barrett,
watch the replay.
closing
Yes.
up, 10 seconds.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And remember, open your hearts, get together with people.
And
This
dial
is-
into 1470 AM.
Thank you very much. See you next
Thank
week.
you. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.